sharing, and then I'm going to turn off my browser.
I guess we're all supposed to hit gut it.
Why does it?
It says okay, you just press the okay button.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
It's like this little thing.
So millions of people are watching, is that right?
Maybe next week.
So
Maybe
actually,
next
the
week.
world stopped.
So are
The
we
world
on?
just stopped and said, "Oh my God, look."
Yeah, we're on.
Okay, I didn't put on much makeup today.
Mark, why don't you kick us off?
So hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hi. This is Art Matters New York. My name is Mark Safan, and I'm here with Hans Witschi.
Hi, everyone.
And our members that we see typically here. And we have a special guest today. We have Mark Cohen, who is a painter and a printmaker and living in Florida, originally from Boston. And I'm going to let Mark say a few words about himself and his work, and then we're going to jump right into his presentation. So Mark, welcome. We're really happy to see you, happy to have you today. And as I said before, I love the way your shirt works with your painting for your left shoulder. And I know that was planned.
Not exactly.
Camouflage.
Anyway, welcome.
The camouflage.
It's very nice to be here with you guys, and I'm quite honored. I got my start in art when I was 5 or 6 years old. And I picked up pencils and started drawing. My parents didn't know what to do about it, so they left me alone. Eventually, I got sent to an art school. That didn't work out very well. I didn't have any interest in being in a class. But I was always interested in art. So when it came time to go to college, I told my dad that I was going to be an artist. And he said, "No, you're not." And so I said, "Well, what am I going to be?" And he said, "Well, you can be a commercial artist, because if you're a painter, you can't make any money." And this was back in the 50s and early 60s. I was living in St. Petersburg, Florida, which is like, if you're a New Yorker, it's like being in the Gobi Desert. So my parents had never been exposed to art, and I was foolish enough to listen to them. But I got a scholarship to FSU, an athletic scholarship. And just by chance, FSU had the best art school in Florida. And so I majored in fine art on the design side versus the painting side. Got my degree, went into the Army, avoided Vietnam, came back and got my master's degree at FSU, and then went to New York. Worked in a graphic design studio. It was great. They taught me everything that they should have taught me in school and didn't. So after a year and the culture shock of New York, I said to myself, I'm going back to Tampa and St. Pete. And that's what I did. Went back to Tampa, got married, had a couple of kids, went into the advertising business with the idea that one day I was going to be a painter. and I put it off as long as I could, and then got out of the advertising business and came to West Palm Beach, found the Armory Arts Center, and enrolled in the Armory Arts Center, thinking that I would learn how to paint. And I did. I had a really good teacher, a guy by the name of Miroslav Antic. Some of you probably know him.
What was his last name?
Miroslav Antic, Antic. Used to be at the Boston Museum.
Okay.
He was tremendous. So
Right.
I painted with him for 5 or 6 years.
And how old were you at this time?
65.
Wow.
Oh,
So you jumped in at that late.
Yeah.
Right. Great.
Yeah.
Amazing.
When you jump in that late,
Yeah.
being the competitive person that I've always been, you want to do something that's meaningful. Not only that, I had 2 kids who were adults and had become successful. And I wanted to show them that you could become an older person and change careers and have a successful second career.
Great.
So that was the impetus. And at the same time I was painting, every minute that I had, I was on the internet or in a book, teaching myself. And part of teaching myself was learning what had been done for 1,000 years before me.
If I can interrupt, this is all very, very interesting. I would love to integrate what you're talking about with the work, so we can look at the work, right, as you speak,
Sure.
and you can go into biographical details, personal details, and so on and so forth. But I think it would just be instructive
Sure. Why don't we start?
to see what you do.
Yeah, why don't we start with the PowerPoint?
Yeah, can we do that, Marie? It would just flesh it out for our viewers and for us, since we have no viewers at this point.
So who's bringing up the stuff?
Marie,
Miroslav Antic, you said, or what?
Yes.
But he was a filmmaker also, or not?
Here we go.
Oh,
great.
Uh,
Okay.
Marie, if you can make the whole screen,
nice.
there you go. Go to slideshow. And then go up on top to slideshow. On the red border at the top, you'll see slideshow. Click on that. There you go. And then it should give you a full screen to click on.
Should she just maybe play from start, the first one, Marie, on the left,
Yeah, that's good.
right there?
There we go.
Wonderful.
Okay, so what we're looking at here is a PowerPoint of an exhibition that really started 10 years ago. Because like you, if you're a painter, every once in a while you have to look at an empty canvas and figure out what the hell you're going to put on it,
Yep.
right?
That's right.
Yep.
Okay, so I had the same struggle right from the beginning. And somehow I got onto the Holocaust. And I liked that idea because it let me do something that had purpose to it, that would make my kids proud. And so I started painting about the Holocaust and about anti-Semitism. So if we go to the next slide, This is it's a drawing. I think the paper is about 30 by 40 inches.
It's a punch.
Just a quick drawing. It's actually the machine that IBM, United States, New York City, Park Avenue, IBM,
Yep, Thomas B. Watson,
Thomas J. Watson.
Thomas J. Watson. Thank you.
Thomas J. Watson.
Yeah, card machine.
Okay, that machine was the forerunner of today's modern computer.
Yeah.
And what it did was enable the Germans, and Thomas J. Watson leased these machines to the Germans beginning in 1933. Its purpose was to catalog every single citizen of Germany. So they were able to do a census. Every person had a punch card that contained all relevant information about them, their age, where they were born, what their religion was, how much money they had in the bank, what their occupation was, their relatives.
My God. It really,
Oh.
yeah, okay, I'm getting the
My
picture.
question would be, were their intentions nefarious, or were they?
I think somebody's
course.
bank accounts has to be, yes.
1933, Hitler came to power.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it was under Hitler that they began this program,
Well,
Oh, yeah.
the put,
correct?
when was the beer hall putsch, Mark Cohen? Was that later?
I didn't understand that.
The beer hall putsch that officially started Hitler's
Bierhalle,
rise.
Bierhalle.
No, not really.
No,
No.
Was it
That-
election.
the Nazis knew what they were going to do
Yes, they did.
right from the beginning.
I got that.
Okay.
And I tell you what I've noticed is that this
That's-
thing underneath is so sinister
that's-
because it looks like a snake.
No, it's not. It's just a cord.
I realize that, but
or a
when
cord.
you're talking, it sort of began to get a snake-like.
Yeah, I like that with the snake hiding under there.
Yeah.
That's an interesting observation. Okay, go on.
So the purpose of the census, which was able to be done because of this machine, and by that time there were hundreds of them in Germany. And actually the Nazis became IBM's second most profitable piece of business from 1933 until 1945.
So
Wow.
how much responsibility, or how much did Watson know about this?
He knew it all.
Yeah. He knew it all.
He knew it all right from the beginning. You have to understand, Thomas J. Watson's best friend was Henry J. Ford.
Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh.
Their families vacationed together. They were total believers in getting rid of Jews.
Oh, God. That's a drawing.
Is
of
that pretty well documented?
If you go online, go to Amazon, and you can see the book IBM and the Holocaust.
Wow.
Yes, I had heard this.
It's the definitive book on that relationship.
Wow.
Okay.
IBM, when that book came out in 2000, IBM totally denied it. They denied it for 10 years. Finally, there's so much evidence contained in the book in documentation. It's been documented by historians and university folk around the world that they gave up denying it and just said that they didn't know anything about it. And they have never let anybody go into the IBM archives.
Okay. Um,
I've
but I have
been-
a question just for you as the artist.
yes.
How much did you know going into this area, into this subject? Did you learn all of this as you were
I was a,
developing your art?
I was a 1960s person. If you came up in the 1960s, you knew that IBM was the best company in America. It was the one company that you would want to work for through the
Right.
60s and 70s and into the 80s.
It's true.
Nobody knew.
But I have a question, Mark. Did
Yes.
you worked for IBM or no? You were in the.
No, I never worked for IBM.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And in fact, I've made this presentation in the last 5 years, half a dozen times.
Mhm.
A couple of times IBM retirees were at the presentation, telling me that it wasn't true. Fortunately, on these presentations, I normally have the book with me, and I share the book. And they go away very downhearted.
Mhm.
Honest, gee whiz. IBM was one of the most paternalistic companies in terms of the benefits that they gave their employees.
Without IBM, the Holocaust would have been millions of people smaller.
Wow.
What's the
Because
name of the book again?
IBM and the Holocaust.
Thank you.
And who's the author?
Edwin Black.
Oh, I know who he is. Okay.
So I have another question because of the drawings. The machine that was from a photograph or made?
That's probably the most famous photograph that comes out of the Holocaust. That's
No,
Yes.
the drawing of
Yeah,
the
that's-
machine before.
it's based on that photograph.
That's your drawing, right?
Yeah,
Okay, okay. But it's from a photograph.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Most of my figurative stuff comes from photographs.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
That's what that's what I use to work from.
Yes, yes. I like the drawing. I mean,
I do too, very much.
Next,
A great drawing. It's,
It
you
is
This
know,
is what you've highlighted.
I mean, we're gonna have to move forward, but I just want to say, relative to the drawing, it's interesting because it's so banal in some way. And
Yeah.
I like the way this story begins with this drawing as something banal, and then of course becomes something quite other than banal, becomes incredibly, dramatic and so on. But I like how it begins with this very, almost innocuous drawing.
yes,
If you
and
know
so
what I mean.
you look at that drawing of that machine.
Yeah.
Every time the Germans would invade a country, thousands of those machines would be shipped to that country.
Is that right?
And never didn't the IBM never sold a machine to the Nazis. They were all leased.
Yep.
Not only were they all leased, but the punch cards were designed and manufactured in New York City at IBM New York and shipped to the Nazis.
Wow.
Oh,
Wow.
Millions of those punch cards over the years.
Wow.
And so when a camp like Auschwitz was opened, the first thing that went into that camp was the machine.
Wow.
Because when you think about Auschwitz, you think about the tattoos on the forearms.
Mm-hmm.
The tattoos are the numbers that come from each one of those IBM punch cards.
Oh, good heavens.
The numbers were a name. The numbers were an individual.
Right.
So the Nazis not only tracked people, human beings from birth, they tracked them to death. So when you died in Auschwitz, on that punch card, they told how you died, they told when you died, and why.
Wow.
I have an idea, but it's just almost aside. But do you know that Rachel Maddow on whatever station she's on
Yeah.
explores this time of history, and she comes up with all kinds of novel stuff. I think she would be very interested in this. I think it would be in her.
Anyway,
Yes. So that was just an aside, but I thought I'd forget it later on.
Yeah, can we move the slides forward?
Let's keep going because we want to see more
Another
art.
one. There we
We
go.
want to see more of your
Okay, so
drawing.
this is
probably
this
famous
is
for-
the emptying of the Warsaw Ghetto.
Yep.
What year was this drawing from? For
Right.
you, what, for you?
Me, I did this maybe 5 years ago.
Okay.
I think it's 1943. Here's the ghetto being burned to the ground. Go to the next slide. Next slide. There we go. Typically, okay, that's good. Stop right there. Typically, this is what happened at in every one of these ghetto situations, because in every town, in every village, in every city, the Jews were gathered and they were sent to a ghetto. And invariably, a ghetto had a gallows where Jews were hung. There were no trials. Any Nazi soldier could indiscriminately say, that person, hang him, and they'd be hung. In addition to hanging, they'd be shot in mass graves. And typically, when the Germans went into a town and they separated the Jews, they'd make the Jews dig a mass grave. They'd line them up, kill them all, push them into the mass grave. They'd have the citizens of the town who weren't Jewish bury them. But in addition to bullets, and in addition to hanging, they also had portable gas vans. That would be any truck
Yep.
that take the exhaust pipe, run a hose from the exhaust pipe into the back of the covered van and gas people that way. That was done all over Eastern Europe. And when you think about it, in total, there were around 6 million Jews killed. Only about half that number were killed in the camps. So half of them were killed by bullets, by being shot, by being gassed, and by being hung. This is a drawing of a cattle car that was used to transport Jews from the ghettos to the 5 killing centers. Typically in these cattle cars, they would put between 100 and 250 men, women, and children. The average trip on a cattle car was 4 days. Sometimes they would take as much as 2 weeks to get to the destination. Most of the time in those 2-week trips, the train would arrive, and typically the train would be between 50 and 100 cattle cars. So minimum, there would be 5,000 people in a train being transported to Auschwitz or Belsen, and some of those trains would arrive and nobody would be alive. They would just be piled up dead in the train when they opened it up.
Yeah.
Yes, we understand.
No air, no sanitation, no food.
Yes.
This is a painting 9 feet high by 18 feet wide. It's oil on canvas. Most of my paintings that have to do with the Holocaust or anti-Semitism or racism or protests of any kind, I don't stretch them, and I paint on raw canvas. I don't use gesso.
You don't So what does that do to the quality of the paint?
I don't
I mean,
care.
Why did you make that choice?
I made that choice because I didn't want to treat it as fine art.
Okay,
Yeah, I understand that.
okay,
It's all too ugly for me to.
right.
Yes, I think that's a wise choice. I get it.
And
And
so,
also not gessoing it, you know.
This is an interpretation of the ovens at Auschwitz, which were manned by Jews. No Nazis were ever inside these ovens. Jews carried the bodies in. Jews put the bodies in the ovens. Sometimes the people weren't dead. Sometimes they were just thrown in the oven alive.
Yeah.
They were stacked inside the ovens. The company that manufactured the ovens had a team that worked the ovens to determine more effective ways of burning the corpses. Want to keep
They were
going?
very dramatic and they were very efficient.
This is a painting that I did because Larry Rivers did the same painting.
I was gonna mention Larry Rivers in that second drawing that you showed us,
And I
coming
wanted
out of
to
the
see
Warsaw
if
Ghetto.
I wanted to see if I could
Yeah,
compete with Larry.
right.
Yours is better.
But it's a painting of old men, women, and children. And they're in the forest right outside the ramp at Auschwitz, where they would have been separated by Dr. Mengele and his staff, who sent these people into the forest because the lines of people to go into the gas chambers, they would be too backed up. So until the gas chambers caught up with the number of people, they parked them in the forest at Birkenau. And most of these people had no idea what was in store for them. They go straight from the forest into the gas chambers and be murdered. Want to keep going?
Yeah.
There we go.
Wow.
This is a painting based on another big painting. It's about 9 feet high, and again, 16 or 17 feet wide. It's based on the Auschwitz album, which is held by the United States Holocaust Museum. It's the photograph was done by the assistant camp commandant at Auschwitz to show the Red Cross and other interested people how well everybody was being taken care of at Auschwitz, that nobody was being murdered. And this particular picture was done at a rest facility that the Nazis built 20 miles outside of Auschwitz, so that they could have a place for their own people to go and rest and relax the weekend period. So here's some of the Nazi officers and clerical people singing and dancing and having fun. I did the painting, and when I got done with the painting, it made me so angry, I just took some red paint and mixed it up and threw it on the painting. That's kind of part of what when you paint what I paint, it gets infuriating.
Yeah.
So you gotta have breaks from it. So here's a commandant of the Plazow concentration camp. If you're familiar at all with Schindler's List, Schindler's List was about the Plazow concentration camp. And the point that was never emphasized in the movie, but was in a movie that just came out a few months ago, I think Zone of Interest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
That
didn't-
was,
Amazing film.
What you come to realize after a while is how the Germans were able to make mass murder ordinary and acceptable, because no one ever thought about it. They get up in the morning, send their kids off to school, go to work. The work would be killing Jews and Romanians and every other kind of person that the Nazis didn't like. They do that all day long, go home, have dinner with their families, put their kids to bed, and the next day get up and do the same thing. This is a drawing of the commandant's mistress, who bore him a daughter. They lived this wonderful life in a 2-story villa right next door to Auschwitz. They had liquor, wine, fresh meat, fresh fowl, fresh everything, fresh vegetables. Here he is, the commandant, sitting on the wall behind his house with his rifle and his daughter. And somehow I picked up from the photograph how the daughter is cringing.
yes.
And I think I characterized that pretty good in.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Uh,
Were these, I mean, you did these paintings before you saw the movie and before the movie was presumably came out, correct?
Zone of Interest?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing, the
Way before.
similarity. It's striking.
Yes. Yes.
Not go to the next painting.
Yeah, it's amazing. Were these, let me ask you, so you said these are based on photographs, right?
Yeah.
So there was that volume of photographs was found fairly recently, correct? That the commandant were taking of their own families, etc.
No, those photographs have been, how long has the United States Holocaust Museum been there?
A while. So those photographs were there.
They're
Okay.
all in the museum. That you can go online and find tons of this stuff.
I see.
That's the Great Dane that the commandant had trained to tear inmates apart while they were alive.
Okay.
He got upset at one point because he had two of these Great Danes, and one of them seemed to like the trainer better than the commandant. So the commandant killed the trainer.
Oh,
This is Helen Jonas, who was an inmate at Auschwitz. She was chosen by Goeth, the commandant, to be her housekeeper. Totally abused her. She survived. And until her death a couple of years ago in Boca Raton, was an advocate against Holocaust denial. This is Monika Hertwig's daughter. Monika Hertwig was, I think, well, still is. I think she's still alive. She was the illegitimate child of Amon Goeth, the commandant, and his mistress. This is her. This is Monika, who had a hard time. Here she is standing out in front of the villa in Plazow, where she learned who her father was when she was a teenager by her grandmother, who told her what the deal was. And she read about him and then made a trip to Plazow with Helen Jonas. And they both were part of a video that's available on Amazon about that experience. This is Amon Goeth on his balcony overlooking the camp with the rifle, and of course his trusty cigar. And this is the place where he'd sit there and shoot inmates.
Can we go back a second?
Yeah.
I like the yellow. I mean, it's that sulfur yellow. It's like it really is transformed in this painting in some way, from yellow being a very relating to the sun and the happy face, and this really has it's twisted in a way. It's subverted.
Right.
And I like that.
And it wasn't intentional. It just happened. That
Yeah.
when it happened, I liked what it looked like, and so kept stacking it on.
I like the way you kept it to just the two colors, the black and the yellow, black and white and yellow. I think that's effective.
I do too, Mark. I think that's a great comment about color, not always having to be what we think, that color.
Yeah, right.
Very common, because
Actually, about 7 or 8 years ago, I forget which company, but one of the acrylic companies came out with a series of grays.
Okay.
Brown gray, yellow gray, orange gray.
Oh,
And that's what most of these paintings are painted with.
Okay.
man, how fabulous. Because you
I
create food.
I have to ask you another question. So I'm looking at these little windows with the reflections in them and whatever, maybe outside of the window. And they really look beautifully painted, like really considered, like each one is different. And it looks like you enjoyed, can I say that? That you enjoyed painting these little windows and all of the, faceting and shadows that are going on. So could you speak a little about that, about, the subject and this, very, very oppressive, unspeakable subject relative to the joy that you may be getting, I'm assuming, from actually painting these things?
Okay, you all are familiar with Jim Dine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I read one of my Jim Dine books years ago.
Okay.
One of his quotations, which was when he was asked why he keeps painting hearts. His answer was, that gives me an excuse to put paint on canvas.
Right.
Yes, I sympathize, yes.
Exactly. We get that.
Okay, there's a joy in painting
Good.
that you don't get any other way.
Yeah. Absolutely.
This is the Bielski family. They're
Partisans in Russia, weren't they?
yes, partisans, not in Russia. but
Poland?
close. Yeah. They went to two of the five brothers were killed. The three remaining brothers grabbed their families, went into the forests and swamps surrounding the town that they were from.
Yeah.
And over time built a community of over 2,000 people fighting the Germans for the rest of the war. I think the book, actually there was a Daniel Craig movie that told their story.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did they survive in any large
Yes.
number? Good.
Yes.
Great.
Yes. In fact, I met one of the brothers a couple of weeks ago at a Holocaust dinner in Fort Lauderdale. So yeah,
Let me ask you one more question. Where is this particular painting right now?
that particular painting is hanging right now in the let's see, the Holocaust Documentation and Education Center in Dania Beach, Florida.
Okay.
That's on the way to being one of the preeminent Holocaust centers in America. It's
Right.
associated with Steven Spielberg's Shoah Foundation at
Right.
USC. And actually the Shoah Foundation has provided them with $1.5 million grant to put in a theater that opened about 6 months ago at the Holocaust Center in Dania Beach. If you're at all familiar with the holograms that were shown on 60 Minutes a couple of years ago and have been reshown, holograms of survivors that allow for a back and forth conversation with visitors to the museum. That technology is available at the Holocaust Center in Dania Beach now.
Oh, wow.
And the Dania Beach Holocaust Center for years has been recording survivors. They have over 2,000 survivors recorded on video. And all of those videos have gone to the Shoah Foundation and Steven Spielberg, and they were all being converted into holograms so that decades from now, when these people say it never happened,
Yeah.
to sit there and talk to a person who survived and can tell you their story.
Wow.
This is it's a drawing using a Stabilo pencil. All of you know what a Stabilo pencil is?
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't.
Okay, a Stabilo pencil is it's basically a wax pencil.
Yeah.
And I use them because when I do solar plate printmaking, the images have to be put onto acetate and then burned into a photosensitized plate using ultraviolet light.
Okay.
Well, I started playing around with that Stabilo pencil, and I used some fixative, not the aerosol fixative. It's fixative that comes in a push button.
Right. Sprayer.
Aerosol.
Yeah. And I noticed when I sprayed it, that Stabilo pencil with the fixative, that it melted the wax.
Right. Yeah.
And so I loved that effect. So
Sure.
I did this drawing, which is, it's, God, I don't know what size of that drawing. I'm trying to think. I think it's about, it's about 5 feet by, about 4 feet by 5 feet.
Wow.
It's a French paper.
Right.
So it's, instead of 250 gram or 250 GSM thickness, it's 750. So it's solid as hell. And it's, it's expensive. It's $60 a sheet,
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Right.
yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's magnificent to work on.
Right.
So I did the drawing, and then I started spraying it, and I kept spraying it and kept spraying it and kept diffusing it. And the more that I went to destroy it, the better it got.
Right.
And it's kind of, when I do drawings, it's kind of the way I feel about them. I want to destroy them. And that's what I want to do with art a lot of the time.
That reminds me a little bit of Christian Boltanski, what you just described, and his, the images that are almost on the verge of disappearing, people's identities that are disappearing.
I'm looking right here. Let's see. Maybe this will look familiar to you.
Oh,
Yeah.
look at that.
Yeah.
What are we seeing beside the barbed wire and the people behind it? Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Oh.
Right.
Mm.
A bit up, more up. Put no up, yeah, a little more. Yeah, good, yeah. Wonderful.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Mm.
That's remarkable.
It's just fabulous.
Fantastic.
Also done with the Stabilo pencil, Mark?
This one was not done with the Stabilo pencil. I hadn't figured it out when I did this one. This is just hell, I don't.
Graphite. It looks like graphite.
It's just a graphite drawing.
Yeah. Beautiful. Very nicely done.
Yeah. Oh.
Same thing here, just graphite. These are the photos were shot the day of the Dachau concentration camp being liberated.
Yeah.
Oh God. Oh.
This is the Stabilo pencil.
Yeah.
And it's of 5 teenagers that were part of the first 1,000 female teenagers that were sent to Auschwitz via a train. The one thing, if you think back on that painting that had the trains and the kids.
Yes.
It's hard to separate trains from Auschwitz.
Right.
Um,
Right.
the other part of that is Thomas J. Watson formed a separate subsidiary with him as the CEO, and its function to use the IBM technology, the punch cards, the machines, to schedule the trains.
Really?
So
Oh.
those trains that ran throughout Europe ran 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And it just makes me angry just to talk about it.
So IBM was complicit in that?
You missed that, Barbara, yeah.
You came late, but
Came
yes,
late.
the answer is yes. We've already discussed that. Let me just
yeah.
say that the book that you may be interested in reading is called IBM and the Holocaust by Edmund Black.
Thank you.
Without IBM, there wouldn't have been a Holocaust. This is kind of an invention that I did. I used a picture of the yellow star that was sewn on kids' clothing or everybody's clothing.
Everybody's clothing, yeah.
And then I just took 5 kids, and the idea of it was what might have been, because the Nazis murdered 1.5 million Jewish children.
Without a qualm.
And that's a painting that I gave to FIU. It's basically the suit.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I love the surface, the black color and the way it's treated and the reflective quality. It's a really interesting painting. Beautiful.
Thank you. So, I have a foundation. The foundation's purpose is to use fine art to combat anti-Semitism, Holocaust denial, racism. So this show that we looked at here, I have the same show done on racism. The racism show is being turned into a video. The Holocaust show is already a video that is available on my website. So that's kind of, for years I get asked, well, I was even asked by my children, how do you expect to sell that? And I never intended to sell any of it. I wanted to keep it all intact as in-person shows. And then in the last 6 months, I decided to convert both shows into videos because as a video, it could go into a high school classroom just downloading.
Yep.
Yep.
It should be on Rachel Maddow. It should be. She was so interested in the American participation during the last century in Nazism. I think this is so apropos to what she's been. I don't know if you're familiar with her, but
Yes, I am.
Yes, we are.
so I think it would be, she should know about it, what you did, Mark. I think it's phenomenal.
Anyway, the purpose of the foundation is to make the shows available in high schools and colleges around the country.
So
Right.
we need it now. We need it desperately.
Yes.
That's a very laudable goal, Mark.
You know, I mean, when you think about our present day circumstances,
Yes.
technologically, you know, I mean, it's so much more sophisticated exponentially. That, you know, the Nazis were just, you know, beginning. You know, they were exploring possibilities. Today, we live in that, we swim, we breathe that environment.
Yeah.
Imagine what Trump could do with that.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
right.
So it's all there. It's all right there. So
Mark,
it's prescient. It's very important.
Mark Cohen, have you also, could we see the rest of your stuff, or is that your presentation for today?
No, I can show you some more.
Would you mind terribly, guys, if we saw more stuff? This is
No,
so,
we're okay. We're good.
Not at all.
this is Mark Lewis Cohen's day. Let's hear it.
Can you all see what this is?
Yes,
Oh,
Yeah.
rhinoceros,
Yes.
who are probably endangered.
Okay, this is a print made with a solar plate.
Hold it up higher, please, Mark. There you go.
Both images are made from the same plate,
Mhm.
Okay, right.
which is kind of the beauty of printmaking. So there's two images. The same day that I printed those two images, which is a couple of weeks ago, I printed these two images.
Wow.
Yes, yes.
Same plate, just different treatment of ink and what you can do after the ink dries.
Yeah.
What kind of prints are those, Mark?
It's
Monoprints, are they, or no?
now they're
Solar print.
the best
Oh,
way
yeah,
to
solar
describe it.
print.
They're etchings.
Mhm.
They're etchings because the image is etched into a photosensitized surface on the plate.
But-
The difference
Is
that in traditional etching is no acid is used. It's entirely water-based.
Oh,
Water-based ink, water-based ink, water-based etching process,
Huh.
where you take the drawing, a drawing on a sheet of acetate, put it on top of the photosensitized plate, stick it in a little box that has ultraviolet lights, turn it on for a minute or two, that burns the image into the photosensitized material. Take the plate, throw it in a tub of water, agitate it for a minute, pull it out, dry it off, and there you go. You got a plate ready to print.
That's the
and
process.
you just ink it up?
What?
You just ink it up at that point?
Yep, just ink it up and run it through the press.
Wow.
That's the process you taught us, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
Very, very exciting process.
Wow.
Mhm.
What I do that's a little different than other folks is I like to paint directly on the plate
Yes.
so that I can print multiple colors without having to register inks.
Right.
I think that's what we did. Remember, Marcia?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you can't do an addition per se if of the direct painting onto the plate,
Well,
or can you?
You can and you can't. Let me
Right.
give you an idea.
Okay.
Takes me like 30 seconds.
It's a very fun, I mean, what his subject is not fun, but the process is fun.
The process is relatively simple,
And
seemingly,
simple. Yeah, it is simple.
but
And you
the
can go to a lot of places because
Yeah.
you're manipulating the plate. It's very interesting.
How do you get the photosensitizing of the plate? Where do you?
You
Do
need
you
an
go
ultraviolet
better?
light. You need some sort of special light.
No, I
It's an
think no, I mean,
ultraviolet light that you put it in. It's like a machine, a
like a
A
like
box, yeah, a light box.
light
Yeah.
bulb.
I
You
mean,
can also, if you have time, put it out to dry in the sun.
Sure.
It's kind of
how do you treat the plate though to get it to be photosensitized? What do you?
You buy the photosensitized plates.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
Mr. Rhino.
there's a rhino.
Oh, that's an old one. I remember that.
There's a rhino.
Yeah.
All made with the same plate. This was an edition of 50. I just inked them differently.
So those are monoprints, really?
They're really monoprints, yes.
Okay. Right.
Mm.
You
Yeah.
sell
No.
those.
When you're not the printmaker,
Yeah.
it's easy to do a limited edition. Okay, but when you are the printmaker, who the hell wants to do 50 exact same prints?
Sure.
You can make.
Well, unless you have a big market.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And today, doing prints this way, it's getting so few and far between.
Yeah.
Just wants to go and go to somebody who's got a 12 head Epson printer and print an edition in an hour.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. That's right.
Oh, more stuff. Let's see.
Yes.
Oh,
Can you see what I'm?
You can
Yes.
move that. Yeah, there you go. Little more, little more, little more. Right there. That's good.
Okay, the one on the left is
The lamp is in the way, Mark. You can't see the whole thing.
But that's an interesting lamp also.
Yeah. Thank you.
sure.
so the one on the left is
On our left, because I think everything's reversed. On your left,
There's a painting and then
Yes,
there's a
that's it, yeah.
metal piece. So
Okay,
it's a
the one on
painting we're
the-
looking.
the one on the right.
One on the right, which is made of metal.
okay.
It's made of metal.
That reversed.
Am I mad? Isn't that metal?
One is a
No.
painting.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Just go ahead, talk about, and we'll figure it out which one you're
Okay,
talking.
the one that looks like it's metal.
Yeah.
Yes, that one.
Okay, that's 4 feet by 5 feet by about 24 inches.
Okay.
The surface of the canvas.
And what is it? What is that surface?
Canvas.
It's canvas. What you're actually looking at,
Mm-hmm.
we had a hurricane down here about a year and a half ago, Hurricane Ian,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that devastated South Florida.
Yes.
And I had to be in Tampa for a day, and on the way home, I drove down 75 toward Sarasota, past Sarasota, because I wanted to see what the coast was looking like, just out of curiosity. And then I made a left and came across the state. And it took me twice as long as it usually did because of all of the fallen trees.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And then when I got back, I went into the printmaking studio at the Armory, and just by chance, I looked out a window there. It's on the ground floor, and right outside the window, they had stacked palm fronds that had been blown down.
Right,
The
okay.
Armory has several royal palm trees. And I looked at those things and I looked at them for 3 or 4 days. And then I said to myself, you know what? I wonder if I can make something with them. So I took a look at them and sawed off the leaf part of the palm frond, and that just left the stem.
Hmm.
And I decided I was going to try and put the stem on canvas and make a series of
Oh,
kind of painting sculptures.
Yeah,
And I tried with one and I didn't like it. And so I started sawing off a lot of these palm fronds. And then I painted them. And then I started figuring out how to attach them. And the one on the right is, it's been painted with Rust-Oleum silver.
Oh, radiator paint. That was what we used for the radiators.
Which makes it look metallic,
yeah.
yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's not. It's the actual palm fronds, and
Huh.
then some of the seed pod things.
Yes, I remember those.
And it's a far cry from Holocaust or racism, but in its own way, and I've done 3 of these so far. In their
Great.
own way,
Yeah.
Good.
they're a statement about climate change.
Yes.
The one on the right, I wanted to do something to let me talk about Ukraine. And so I got some maps of Ukrainian cities. And then I started looking at aerial views. And then I took cardboard and tore the surface off of the cardboard, which exposed all the ribs. And I started pasting it up onto the canvas. And then I started just basically throwing paint on the canvas to kind of indicate bombing. So I think I titled this one Dawn in Mariupol.
Okay.
And then I
I
did
wish we could see that closer, but I guess we can't. Huh?
I can move it closer. That's probably the easiest thing to do.
Oh. Oh, look at that. Ah. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
The difference when we
See anything except Hans and I saw Barbara. I'm not seeing Mark Cohen.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
So I'm behind the painting.
There you go. Oh, no.
yeah.
Oh. How big is that, Mark?
This is bigger than Mark. It's as big as Mark.
No, it's not that.
Can we see that again? I'm seeing people in our class. I'm not seeing the painting.
You don't see Mark
You
standing there?
can click,
No, I do not.
Okay.
Marcia, you can click on the image and say in, and then it gets bigger. Then you see only him.
I see. Yeah, that's true. You can do that. That's true.
I have participants.
Kin.
Yeah, I see it now.
Then you see it
Right
big.
click and yes. I see the corrugations. I don't see the maps, but I certainly enjoy what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
That Rust-Oleum paint is really effective. It really works. How many
Yeah.
did you have to use multiple coats to get that?
There's about
Back?
4 coats of paint on there.
I'm sorry?
There's about 4 coats of paint on it.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah, it really does. Very sculptural.
Hmm.
Mark, are these fronds or pieces of the tree affixed to a canvas?
Yes.
Are they, I mean, how do you pick it up? How does it not fall off?
Pick it up by the stretcher bar.
I think
So it's very heavy, is what I'm saying.
It's pretty heavy, yeah.
How did you get them to stay up on the canvas?
I adhered them flat.
With glue or with wire, or how did you do it?
In the beginning, I've gone through about 4 different kinds of glues and finally arrived at, you're going to laugh, Gorilla Glue.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
excellent.
Very strong.
Gorilla
Okay.
Glue, it comes in a container
Divided to it,
about
yeah.
a foot long, and you apply it with a caulking gun.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Sakes.
Okay.
I've never seen
And the
that.
stuff works great.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good.
I'd like to just
You know
say,
what also, go ahead, Marie.
no, I just want to say something. Mark, I personally have seen you in the studio while you've been painting your gigantic murals. And I think unless I saw everything together like I did today, it's just what you say and what you stand for and what you want to communicate is just awe-inspiring. And I just want to thank you for the work that you've done. And I think that we had a discussion, I think like a month or 2 ago, about whether political art could be considered fine art, you know, and I think you answered the question, yes. And it's just, I want to thank you for coming on today and sharing your work and your vision and your passion. And you know, you're so talented, and you know, it was really an honor to see your work.
Thank you.
It's very moving work, really. You had us in tears.
Yeah.
So here's my question for you guys.
Yeah.
Can I join your class?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Of course.
yes.
Of course, you would
Is
bring
that-
such a great perspective.
We'd
We'd be
love to.
delighted.
That would be
Oh.
tremendous.
I have your email. So we do this every Thursday at 11 a.m.
Great.
And you know, Mark, you can't miss it, no matter what. I was hospitalized maybe 3 times in the last week, and here I am. So
Oh,
there you go. Certain magnetism that these people have. This is a wonderful group.
It is
Be-
a wonderful.
Have you?
yes.
Oh,
My
I think
alarm
we
did
all-
not go off today, so I'm sorry to miss the first half, but there was no way that I was going to miss the whole session.
You know, Barbara, we're now live on YouTube, so you can see it. The part that you
That's
missed.
marvelous. I'm gonna look, certainly.
Do you
Thank
want
you
to,
for showing us this really powerful work.
Yes.
But there's other powerful work too that Mark Cohen has done that we haven't, that many of you have, some of you have not seen.
Right. Well, we'll see that in the future, at some future
Yes.
time. Right
Look
now,
forward to
our
it, yeah.
time, you know, especially relative to our recording of this, we should close this session. Everyone can stay where they are, but we should probably sign off. Okay? So I'm going to thank everyone. I'm going to thank Mark Cohen especially for
Yay,
joining us
Mark,
today.
thank you for joining
Thank
us.
you, yes, thank you.
And
Thank
that was
you for
really-
having me.
Oh,
It's really our
Oh, we'll
Really
see you in a
nice.
couple of weeks.
yeah, I
Right.
think, Mark, you just stop recording and we're all good.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna say thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
Okay,
Yes, thank
Great.
you.
all right. Thank you so much.
I thought it was very interesting, very vigorous, very determined. Your whole attitude, you know,
Right.
towards, to be
Mm.
angry about something, and also the great craftsmanship, you know,
Yes.
which you have
Thank you.
in those
Mm.
things. This is also very powerful, you know, that you know what I'm saying, that then you transport something really wonderfully. It was very strong.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Exactly.
Marvelous, Mark Cohen,
Okay,
thank you.
thank
And
you,
you may
everyone.
not think it's
Um,
art, you don't want it
Thank
to be
you.
fine art, I know, but
Yeah.
guess what, Mark, it is.
Okay. See you next time.
Okay. See you next
God
time.
bless
So
everyone.
everyone just can hang out.